Throughout all of NBA history, only 3 players have ever had consecutive games of at least 20 points and 20 assists. Magic Johnson was the first to do so in 1984, John Stockton joined the club in 1990, and 33 years later, Tyrese Haliburton has now done it as well. Over his last 2 games, he's assisted on 43 shots, while only turning the ball over twice, and it never fails to amaze me just how many different ways he can punish a defense to get his team wide open looks. Of course, the Pacers have one of the fastest offenses in NBA history, which means that a lot of his creation is done in the open floor. He's such a quick processor, always finding streaking teammates with kick-aheads or long outlets. Just look at this play for example. Notice how he turns his head while grabbing the rebound, and before he even catches the ball, he knows that the outlet is available. But with Randall right in front of him, he doesn't really have an opportunity to make that pass. So he takes one dribble around the defender, then throws it, and just like that, they've got a wide open layup. When there isn't an immediate outlet to make, that's when you'll see him put it down and lead the break like a modern day Showtime Laker. He's staring down Buddy Hield on this one, and by the time he's throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball into the chest of Miles Turner, the Bulls have no idea what just hit them. His eyes are used as a weapon to control the defense in these spots. Again, he's staring down Hield on the wing, and Julian Phillips seems completely oblivious to the fact that Benedict Mathurin is streaking right behind him, once again resulting in a real easy score at the rim. And in the same way he'll stare down shooters to open up cutters, he'll do the inverse. When watching this play, I was 100% sure that the ball was going to Andrew Nembhard. Even after Haliburton releases it, it still looks like it could be targeted for him. But when the camera pans over to the corner, we see that there was actually a shooter waiting there, and he's left with a warm-up jumper. His level of awareness and court vision can't possibly be overstated. Like here, he sees that he's got 2 streaking shooters covered by 1 Evan Fournier. Hield's gonna go to the corner, Nembhard's gonna stop at the wing, so what Haliburton does is dribbles over to that side of the floor so that he can force Fournier into choosing which one to cover. He picks Hield, so the ball gets moved to Nembhard, and that's another high quality 3, which bounces in with some help from the rim. It feels like he never fails to capitalize when playing with pace. Again, he recognizes that DeRozan is covering 2 players, and because priority number 1 is to protect the rim, that leaves Jalen Smith wide open on the wing. Later in the game, he made virtually the exact same find, except this time Kobe White recovers from behind to run Smith off the line, to which he attacks by putting it down on a drive and getting all the way to the rim for a chance at 3 the old-fashioned way. A lot of people actually criticize Haliburton for these assists that require his teammate to create off the dribble after receiving a pass, but I want you to think of it as a sort of domino effect. He comes off a handoff and draws 2 to the ball, meaning that DeRozan again has to cover both the roll and the wing. With lower positioning, that creates a longer closeout, which leads to an easier driving lane. And it all started with that extra defensive attention thrown at Haliburton. Here's another example. Late in the clock, Brunson's gonna come over to double team him in isolation, forcing Josh Hart into that awkward 2v1. He stares down Turner to pull Hart into the paint before firing a cross-court bullet to Hield, which of course draws a long closeout and leads to some more good offense coming at the basket. Haliburton's ability to hit every inch of the floor with those skip passes makes weak side defense really difficult. Here's another one that starts with him drawing 2 to the ball, and it's almost like Josh Hart freezes in his tracks because he has no idea what to do. That slight hesitation leaves Miles Turner all alone under the basket. So next time Hart finds himself in a similar situation, forced to choose between tagging the roller or staying home to a shooter, he slides down, to which Haliburton of course counters by hitting Mathurin for a 3. The Bulls ran into some issues with this as well, except they primarily struggled with the size aspect of it. 2 go with Haliburton, and it's a guard defending the weak side, so the only chance he really has is to steal the pass. Of course, as we all know, this dude does not turn the ball over, so Turner's got himself some more free ones. Here's another play against the Knicks that starts with a handoff, and when Turner slips, that leaves 2 on the ball. The problem is that those 2 are both bigs, so even though Turner's wide open, there's not really an angle for him to make that pass over the top. By taking one dribble around Randle's hip, all of a sudden he's created that angle and throws a beautiful no-look dime to the big man. He's phenomenal at using his live dribble to get into the defense and create passing angles like this. Right off the screen, you can see that Dosunmu is meeting him with aggressive help, while DeRozan's sitting back near the nail to protect the middle of the floor. Notice how the entire left side is wide open. Nobody to tag the roll, and Haliburton knows this. He takes one extra bounce, and DeMar thinks he's going to try to make the pass up top, so he leaves his feet, only for him to take an extra step down the lane before dropping it off to Jalen Smith for a dunk. Here's another that starts with the high pick and roll, and the Knicks straight up put 2 bodies on him. Instead of picking up his dribble and making a quick read, he hunts for a lane to turn the corner on a drive, pulling the defense away from Aaron Nesmith up top before hitting him in the pocket for an easy catch and shoot. Those high ball screens are their primary source of half-court offense, and what's really interesting is that Haliburton usually elects to reject the screen as a way to start his drives, and from there, he'll punish any sort of help or rotation behind the play. His use of hesitations and head fakes allows him to set up any defender. I mean, it really looks like he's going left, and Caruso thinks so too. So when he instead goes right, there's nobody in position to stop him from getting to the paint. DeRozan's forced to step up and stop him, leaving Jalen Smith open on a baseline cut. To protect the paint from these downhill attacks, bigs are often forced to overcommit to the ball. All that does is leave open the pop though, and Indy's loaded their roster with screeners who can knock down those shots. Opposing defenses just have to throw different coverages at him when coming off of screens, and most commonly that means straight up putting 2 on the ball. But as we all know, that's a dangerous game. Another option is to soft switch, which the Bulls did try, but you have to execute it perfectly without giving up the slip, or you'll find yourself giving up even more layups than before. Tom Thibodeau went to his famous ice coverage to see if he could throw Haliburton off his game, and the way this coverage works is that the point of attack defender is going to force the ball towards the baseline where a big is already pre-positioned to meet him with immediate resistance. One problem though, this coverage is designed by nature to give up the pop, so I'm really not sure what they were thinking. As long as the Knicks were approaching ball screens in this way, the Pacers had unlimited access to the pick and pop whenever they wanted, so they got quite a few easy looks from deep that helped contribute to Turner's 28 points. And when New York went back to a softer coverage, like a hedge or a high drop, that just allowed Haliburton to get back into the defense and dice them up on drives. Very rarely will you see the opposition do everything right. Here Drummond jumps out in a hedge, Kobe White slides down to tag the roll but doesn't overcommit, while Caruso zones up the lane so that he can help if Turner gets the ball down low. The thing with Haliburton though is that while so much of his game revolves around speed, he can also play patient, just keeping his dribble alive and setting up a second action, which is Hield setting a ghost screen to take advantage of open space at the top of the key, with enough time to get his feet set before rising up for 3 points. Just in these 2 games, we saw it all. The transition, the way he forces weak side defenders into impossibly tough decisions, how he uses his handle to carve up defenses inside the arc, and that's without even touching on the fact that he also averages nearly 25 points per game on incredible efficiency. There's a reason that Indiana has one of the best offenses of all time, and it starts with Tyrese Haliburton's mastery as a playmaker. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of Haliburton. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.